this defense has been struck down repeatedly in light of the expectation that the Supreme Court would ultimately decide Trump's immunity.
Yeah, I have to say that I'm much more pessimistic for Trump as to how that's going to turn out for him. I don't see the Supreme Court deciding that because someone is president, they're immune from really doing almost anything. I mean, he's suggesting that encouraging people to, storm the Capitol is a presidential act as part of his presidential duties. That's a stretch. To call it a stretch is being charitable to that argument. I don't really think that's an argument that the Supreme Court is going to take seriously, despite any inclination they may have to be favorable towards the former president.
And on the broad question of Trump's presidential immunity, with all the legal issues that he's facing, an appeals court, a federal appeals court, will hear oral arguments in 10 days. How soon can you expect a ruling on that? And of course, we'll expect, I'm sure, depending on which way it goes, appeals to follow.
Yeah, I expect within, let's say, 21 days, you're going to have a ruling, if not less, from the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. And then the question is, how long does the Supreme Court take to decide that issue or decide whether to take it up? I wouldn't be surprised if the Supreme Court doesn't decide that issue, if they just decide not to take that case and let the Court of Appeals decision stand. That would be a loss for Trump, but this way the Supreme Court doesn't have to wade into that issue itself.
Renato Mariotti, great to have you on the eve of New Year's Eve.